Okay, I'm going to teach you the knit stitch and the purl stitch, and I'm doing this for my niece Laura, who mentioned to me after I knitted her boys' blankets. I knit blankets for all the people, all the kids in the family who have babies, and she said because her boys are so attached to the blankets that I knitted, she wants to learn how to knit again because I taught her when she was a young girl. She wants to get a refresher course on how to knit. So I'm going to attempt to do this on video for her because she lives up near Fort Worth and I live near Austin in Buda, and we don't get together as often as we would like. As a matter of fact, because of COVID, we haven't been able to get together much at all, just until recently, which we will be doing soon. But I want to have this for her when I'm not around to help her or teach her. Maybe she can do a refresher course and then she can ask me questions if she has any. So, normally what I do is I take a ball or a skein of yarn. This is just a small little ball for demonstration. And I count out 20, 40, 60, however many stitches that I need for the project. I'm just going to do 20 this time, so for demonstration purposes. So basically this is 2 sticks and a string. I make a slip knot. This is called cast on because you need to cast on something on your needle in order to start your project. So you make a slip knot and that's your first stitch right there. And then I hold my yarn over, under, over, and that is how it's taught in a book that I learned out of when I was 17. There are other ways people hold their yarn, and there's also many other videos on YouTube that can teach you how to do this. Much better than mine. However, here's just one more. So I take the yarn, I hold it with my 3 fingers. This finger is usually loose. And I wrap it around my thumb, stick my needle in through the yarn, wrap it around, and pull it through. Now there's a saying that you do, and you stick it through there, and you go in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. That's a little nursery rhyme you can remember to cast on or do the knit stitch. So, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. Now, you can either go over the yarn, over the needle, or around the front of the needle. Go under the needle. So this is what I like to do for myself because I don't do this part well when I go around that way. Some people do, but when I go around this way, it's not as tightly uniform for me, which some people like it that way. I don't particularly. So in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. Okay, now wrap it around your thumb, stick the needle through, over the needle or under, depending on what you prefer. You will learn your own style, what you like to do best, how you like to hold your thread, how you hold your needles, and you will learn your own style. That was a text, everyone, from my bestie Harley. Okay, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. So this is called long tail cast on. There are many ways you can cast on. Many other ways you can also learn. This is the long tail cast on, is the basic cast on that I use for all of my projects. Every once in a while I will use something called a knit on cast on, and I can show that to you, Laura, if you want someday, if you need me to, if you see a project that you want to do and it calls for a cable cast on or a different kind of cast on, you can ask me and I will show you. Okay, so now we've cast on, I don't know how many stitches until I ran out of yarn, obviously. So then I pick up the other needle and we do the knit stitch, and basically this is your first row. This will be your first row when you're doing your knitting. So you stick your needle in your yarn, the first stitch, you wrap it around, and this time I do go under. When I cast on, I go over. When I knit, I go under. So same little nursery rhyme applies. In through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack, and you just push that off. So I'm holding my yarn on the needle with my index finger, and I am guiding this needle through. I take the yarn, and from the ball, make sure if you have a longer tail left that you don't pick up the long tail, but you're picking it up from the ball or skein of yarn. And these are plastic needles, and sometimes plastic needles are harder to slide, but anyway. In through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. So you are pushing it through with your right hand needle, taking your yarn around the point of the needle, you're pulling that yarn up through in a loop, and then you're taking it off, and you can tighten it a little bit. Don't tighten it too much, because if you tighten it too much, you're going to have a hard time getting your needle through, and you will have a harder time getting your needle through the first row, the cast on row, than any other row that you do. Okay, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. In through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. So there is this stitch and the purl stitch, and those are the only two stitches that are in knitting actually. So it is the different things you add to it, like knitting two together, yarn overs, doing cables where you put some cables off on a little hook needle and you hold them in front or back, and then you knit some more stitches, and then you knit the stitches from the cable needle, and you've made a cable. So, but everything is based on knit and purl. There's no other stitches. So, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. In through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. In through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps Jack. So we've done our first row. Now, I want to show you how to purl. So what you do is, because one without the other is kind of pointless in my opinion. I learned how to knit on a rib knit hat, which this used both knit and purl. And so your knit stitches are flat down here, and your purl stitches make a bump like this. And a knit stitch on the front is a purl stitch on the back. So actually it's a very simple thing. So you hold on to your yarn again, and when I purl, I seem to hold on to it same way, but I'm really guiding it with this middle finger. So you stick for purl, you hold your yarn in front, your needle goes in the front of that yarn or behind that yarn, and you stick it in the front like that, perpendicular, and you pull it through and push it off. There's a nursery rhyme for this too, but it's stupid, so I'm not going to teach it to you. So it goes, your needles are perpendicular, and you stick it through the front, roll it around the back, push it up, and push it off. In through the front, run around the back. It can do the same one as the other one, out through the window, off jumps jack. Just a little different technique, but very simple. Very simple. And what I do, the tips I can give you for purling is, when I enter this needle into here, I usually hold the two needles with these two fingers, and then I go around and then grab a hold again and push it off. It will feel awkward at first for any new knitter. All of this is awkward, but once you learn, I mean, I've been doing this for 50 years. So I learned when I was 17, so just giving away my age, but that's it. So most of the time you're always guiding this yarn with your other finger. And your tension makes a difference, and also working closer to the end of the tip helps. Helps with your speed, it helps with your uniformity of your stitches, all of that. So, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off. Camera cut off. So, we're going to, whoops, I did that twice because the camera cut off. Alright, so again, in through the front door, run around the back. I hope this is filming right because my camera, I had to start it again. Okay, in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps jack. So, your purl stitch, you just keep your yarn in front, wrap it around. I believe this will come back to you very quickly, Laura, because you've done it before. And if you have any issues or any problems, of course we can always video chat. So, pull it tight. Now I'm going to turn my yarn again, turn it to the front, change hands with the needles, and we're going to do another knit row, just for grins. And in through the front door, run around the back, out through the window, off jumps jack. So you will find as you build on your rows, it's much easier than knitting the first cast on row, because your tension in casting on is a little tighter, and you kind of have to hold this yarn to keep your tension. Make sure you don't let it go slack or too loose, because if you do, then your stitches will not be uniform. So I try to make sure that I am keeping my tension the same throughout. And as you go along, you get quicker and quicker at this, and so. Okay, so you see this side is knit, this is the knit side because it's flat, and this is the purl side. It's bumpy. So normally this is the right side, and normally this is the wrong side. So that's how it usually goes in patterns. It can be different depending on the pattern, but that's the norm, and this is called the stockinette stitch. The stockinette stitch. Now I made that kind of loose, so I'm going to tighten it up by bringing it to the back. You always bring your yarn to the front when you're purling, and so there you go. I know I'm doing this kind of fast, but I think you will pick it up. Again, this is for my niece Laura. Hopefully my niece Jessica might like to pick this up also for her children and for her grandchildren. She has 3 children, so it would be nice if she could knit blankets or things for her children while they're small. She has 2 babies, actually, 2 young ones, 2 youngins, and a almost grown boy. No, not really. He's just older boy playing football, middle school. Okay, so we're going to the end of this, and this will be the purl demonstration. So if I went too fast or something, you have any questions, or whenever you get to this, let me know. But this is your knit side, this is your purl side, and that is your knit and purl stitch, which is the basic for every single thing you will ever do. Later on, I'll do a video on casting off, and then you'll know everything. Okay, thank you.